Hello, Power fans. Mathonical, you're joining for round 2 with Affinity. Our opening hand is amazing. We got some turn 1 play, turn 2 free Frogmite. Yeah, this is just an amazing hand. We're absolutely keeping this. So I'm still not certain whether it's better to play the Springleaf Drum or the Flayer Husk on turn 1, but I went ahead and played the Springleaf Drum just because. Here we could have cast. So I made a bit of a mistake here. I wanted to keep up Metallic Rebuke against whatever our opponent was going to do, but I realized after I passed the turn that we could have cast the Thoughtcast using the blue mana, and then we still would have had the Metallic Rebuke up, being able to tap the Springleaf Drum with the Germ and 2 artifacts. So a little bit of a misplay on my part. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us too much. Our opponent is playing Burn, of course, and they're just going to start going to our face. The reason why I wanted to have the Metallic Rebuke up is a lot of their best plays are on turn 2, like the Searing Blaze here. So here we're just going to go ahead and dump out a ton of our hand and get in for some damage. We're getting hit pretty hard with the Firebrand Archer into Lava Spike. I do like our position quite a bit, but since we don't have a way of removing this Firebrand Archer right now, we may not be in the safest of positions if our opponent has a really good hand. So we're going to go try digging. We don't find the Galvanic Blast that we really wanted, so we're just going to go ahead and get in for 7 damage, leaving back 1 Germ for blocking. Here comes a Curse of the Pierced Heart, some Needle Drop, so things aren't looking too good. If our opponent has a 3 damage spell plus a Fire Blast, which our opponent does, we are indeed dead. Very good hand out of our opponent. That is a great burn hand. Alright, so now we just have to run it back and have some of our really good Affinity hands. Taking a look at the sideboard, we've got plenty of sideboard options for this matchup. We've got the 2 Dispels, 2 Hydroblast, and 2 Feed the Clans. So I'm always like I'm still a bit shaky on sideboarding for this matchup, so if you've got some recommendations, please let me know. What I'm going to take out is the Flings and the Temur Battle Rage. I don't feel like we need to do the combo kill, although it might be reasonable to keep in at least one of those just to kind of win a little bit quicker. But I suspect there's going to be some situations where a bunch of our creatures are getting removed, and if they're not, we're probably winning anyways. So that's my thought process behind that. Also going to take out the 1 Ancient Den. Since we're taking out a lot of our 2-drop spells, I don't mind cutting 1 land since we are lowering our casting cost across the deck, and we're just going to take out 1 Prophetic Prism as well with 1 Flayer Husk. So just kind of like a little trim here and there, and taking out a lot of like the combo kill potential. I feel like we're going to be able to survive a longer game with the spells that we're bringing in, so we don't mind doing that. We'll take a look at our opening hand. And this hand looks great to me. We're going to be able to play a turn 2 Frogmite with Galvanic Blast, so I'm all for it. This is amongst the best starts you can do in Infinity. Turn 1 play into turn 2 Frogmite, like just dump a bunch of those. With the 2 Galvanic Blast, things look pretty good for us. And our opponent does look to be stuck on 1 land. That is both a blessing and a curse here. Means our opponent is going to have it's going to take them a bit longer to cast all their spells, but if they start finding lands like now, they're going to have a lot of gas. So here I debated on whether it was better to use the Hydroblast to counter the Alchemist, or let it resolve and kill it with Galvanic Blast, holding up the Hydroblast for anything else, since this can deal with more things than Galvanic Blast. But in this position, I just need to get in 2 more attacks for these 2 Galvanic Blasts to be lethal. So since that seems like a pretty good plan to me, and I don't think they can just, like Burn can kill us from this position without one of these creatures, I think we have 2 turns to try and win this. So we're going to go ahead and go with that plan. Would have liked to see something that we could have cast, but it's fine. Our game plan is to attack 1 more time and hopefully win. With the Firebrand Archer on the field, of course we could remove it, but why don't we just attack? If our opponent doesn't block, we win on the spot. Let's see what happens. No block, and we win. Alright. Always a little scary to see what's going to happen against Burn. Jumping on over to game number 3. For the sideboard, I don't believe we change anything for this one. Yep, we didn't bring any of the combo kill. We still have the same 3 cards out, so we're just going to be running it back. Taking a look at our opening hands. So, this one to me is a little bit on the fence. We are able to get out a turn 1 Flayer Husk. We can get out a Chromatic Star plus draw 2 cards on turn 2. But those cards need to be relevant in some regard, and we need another blue source to be able to cast the next Thoughtcast. We are on the draw, so I debated pretty hard on this one, and I believe we do end up keeping it, just because that is a lot of redraw between the 2 Thoughtcasts and the Chromatic Star. We have our lands. It'd be pretty greedy to send this one back, so we're going to keep it. Martyr of Ashes comes out, so it sounds like we're going to be losing some of our board later on. Flayer Husk, I'm really glad to be able to play that here. It means that our opponent won't be able to attack in for the damage, just like the free damage Martyr can sometimes get in from turn 1. And Prophetic Prism into land is fine. It means we're going to be having no troubles casting our Thoughtcasts in the future, which we now have a nice 3 of them. Opponent still isn't doing anything. I'm really glad we didn't see any kind of turn 2 creature there. So we're going to go ahead and just start dumping out our hand. Might as well get in for our cheeky 1 damage. So I'm pretty sure our opponent is going to be saving up to be able to wipe our Myr Enforcer. And I really don't mind if they spend their time like wiping out our creatures. Since they didn't wipe out our creatures there, I think it probably would have been a good idea for me to move the Flayer Husk over to the Myr Enforcer just to make it more difficult for our opponent to remove it. But I just went ahead and let them go ahead and do this. We now get to see their hand, and they do end up playing the Martyr of Ashes. So we know we're playing around Pyroblast, Lightning Bolt, and Rift Bolt. We've more or less got those 3 spells covered with the Metallic Rebuke, Dispel, and Hydroblast. So we're just going to go ahead and get this Carapace Forger out there. We're going to suit it up with the Flayer Husk and kind of go from there. We're in a pretty good position. Oh, it looks like we have broken the game. Give it 1 second to see if it can make it way. There we go. Got the Flayer Husk on there. And now, even if our opponent draws a red spell, it's not going to be able to remove the Forger. So they crack that, which means I'm pretty sure they're going to bolt it. It ends up, they drew a Smash to Smithereens, but thankfully we do have one of the counter spells for that, which is just a huge blowout, and that sequence of events likely wins us the game. But never count to burn out, except for when you draw the Atog and we've got lethal on board. So our opponent digs, finds a Firebrand Archer, but we're not going to allow the chump block to happen. We're just going to go ahead and use this Metallic Rebuke, since our opponent doesn't have the mana to pay for it. And that is the game. So we got crushed in game 1, but we had some pretty nut draws in games 2 and 3, so we will take the victory. Thank you for joining me for round 2, and I will see you in round 3.